And good morning, Yamhill County. You're tuned right here to KLYC 1260 AM. Your morning gardening show here for the week of June 27th. And we are coming to you from the McMinnville Community Garden, which it is very lovely here today, Ray. Isn't it? Good idea. This was all your idea. You said come down to the community garden, but I think it's because you wanted to pick some things and then have us here.
Well, I was originally scheduled to work this morning, but they've already completed the trenching and scooped out the ditches so that Monday they're going to actually start installing the water lines.
Oh, yeah.
And this whole thing is going to be plumbed.
Well, I'm eyeing the trencher over there. It's getting ready to get back on the trailer, and I think that it could just make a pit stop over at my place because I have a couple of 100 feet of trench that I would just love to just dig and get through it. But they used it successfully here, saved backs and shovels.
What really surprised me is this whole area has got the best clay soil I've ever seen in my life. And it goes, I don't know how far down it goes. It goes at least 2 feet because a lot of the
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, it's a perfect straight down.
Perfect
it's still clay going down.
And there's no rocks. There's no nothing. They did run into an occasional pipe.
Did they? No.
That was a little icky. So we do have to drag the water lines a little further.
A little more out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But it's working really good.
And the reason that we're digging the trenches out here is because they need to put in those water lines, specifically because of the week that we're having coming up. And it's going to be really hot.
Hot.
Not unseasonably hot. This is what happens. And
it's just early.
It's here.
Yeah, it's summer in Oregon. It's summer in the Willamette Valley, and occasionally we get scorching periods. And everybody snivels about how hot it is. And it is truly dangerous if you're an inside person to go outside.
Yeah.
It can...
Because when we say hot, we're talking about above 100 in places, especially
and consistently above 90.
Out east, we're looking at 110, possibly. Down in Medford, hot. In the hundreds. Everywhere in the hundreds is hot.
Yeah, hot. Yeah, over 100, it's even hot for me.
And then specifically with dealing with the plants, once the temperature gets above 90 degrees about, the stomata, they just shut down and the plants stop processing. So they're not doing anything in the heat. It's like a lovely sun, bright sun.
They're melting.
But they're not able to process anything.
No, especially if you've had any cool crops.
Oh, good.
Like onions and radishes and lettuces and broccolis. It gets this kind of hot, they just suddenly, I'll go to bloom.
Right.
And it can happen. It seems almost like it's overnight. You walk out and one day you're clipping little broccoli heads and florets and just having one. And you go out there the next day and they're bright yellow flowers with stalks, a foot tall. They've gone to seed.
Yeah, and speaking of bright yellow flowers, my dandelions are up in force right now, and so when we're done with the show, I'm running out there, and I'm taking the mower and just getting everything down, because I have a feeling that if I don't do that, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and they're just going to be little wish makers all over the place.
Well, you look around here, and there's a few yellow ones over there.
Right.
A few of the false dandelions.
Yeah.
But if you look around in the garden, you will not see very many yellow flowers except for the calendula and the cut flowers and the commercial beds over there.
Stops at the fence line.
That's because Ray's got a gas weed eater and a never-ending supply of gas.
Right.
My good friend Linda went and bought me a couple of gallons of gas and a couple of more bottles of mixture. So I mix up the gas 1 gallon at a time.
Right.
And you can weed eat with this weed eater for a good 2 hours till you start getting a little tense around the gills.
I bought hearing protection specifically for my weed eating because it gets loud. Sometimes on the tractor it gets loud too. So these are nice, big, huge headphones that I can plug into my music player.
Bose noise cancelers?
Oh, no. Nothing as fancy as that. But they do work very well. They're specifically made for industrial purposes. So they actually block out the noise outside so that you can play loud noise inside, but it's the noise you want, you know.
Yeah.
It's the booming bass and stuff like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So let's talk more about this weather out there because
Yeah,
we can
and
get
how to-
into the mushy fruits out there because we are in the harvest of those raspberries, marionberry, blackberries are coming in
Blackberries.
presently, right?
Marionberries,
Yeah.
blackberries, raspberries should be pretty well shot.
Yep.
Unless you have the everbearing variety, and they will get mushy, they will get shriveled.
I did have an everbearing berry, but the our new goat has found different ways to get into our garden.
Oops.
So I no longer have strawberries. Well, I no longer have my raspberries, but he couldn't quite make it into the briar patch of the marionberries or the tayberries that are just like growing and
Oh.
sprawling all over the place. But he did do some destruction.
He's doing his best at grooming for you.
Right, and you know what? I look at the strawberries right now, and he did do a good job. He ate almost all of the top stuff, but pretty soon the it's going to do the second sprouting,
Yeah.
and it'll get these nice green things. The conclusion that I've come to with the deer and my goats is they'll eat the stuff, but they won't eat it down to the root. They're not that vicious.
No.
They just are heavy pruners.
Well, I've come to a peaceful coexistence with the doe that likes my sunflowers.
Yeah.
And once they get up past a certain point, apparently they're no longer tasty to her,
None at all.
which is a good thing. But
Right.
I've got one sunflower that's got a stem on it that's about 3/4 of an inch, maybe 7/8 of an inch in diameter,
Hmm.
and it's only 14 inches tall.
I see.
But it got a heck of a stem.
Oh, it's
Oh
thick
man!
one.
Is it?
It's
And
thick
then each time the doe catches just the little top two tasty leaves,
Just
apparently,
sniff,
the,
nibble.
the basal leaves at the base of the stem, they sprout, and they just go hog nuts.
Oh my gosh.
And so now I've got this sunflower that
You've got a sunflower bush?
it's going to look more like an azalea by the time this thing gets done.
That is so
But
weird.
man, Friday, am I going to have sunflowers?
No, it is. I've been, initially doing the gardening. You hate things that eat your things that you're planting, and then
I have a resentment.
so slowly you do come to some sort of acceptance. But they didn't eat my roses. My roses needed the trimming more than anything else. They are staying away from them. So 100 degrees.
Yep.
Today's Saturday. It's
Things are going to melt slightly.
tomorrow Sunday. We're looking at a drop significantly almost to 88 degrees. So it's going to feel like a cool down.
Right.
And then
But it won't be a real cool down.
No, Monday we start working our way back up. 91. Tuesday 94. Wednesday 97. 97, 97, 99. Sunday, so Saturday and Sunday we're at the upper 90s.
I heard one weather person on TV the other day say that this was going to add up to being the most days over 90 in the history of weather keeping in Oregon.
Wow,
That
that seems
That's a
significant.
serious accusation.
That seems significant. Yeah, and then the thunderstorms are supposed to be coming the week after that, according to Rufus. So we have fire danger, significant fire danger. So that's what we're planning on for the weather. I did get in some deep watering today, and I'll probably be doing that every morning here for the next week at least, because I need that deep soak.
My potted plants out on the deck are the ones that I have the most concern with because they are in huge pots, and of course the pots get warm, and the deck gets up to about 140, 150 degrees on the surface of the deck because I very artistically, let's call it, painted it a nice silver gray.
I see.
So
It's reflective.
It's reflective. as all
Brightly
get-
reflective
oh, man,
to the
it's-
underleaves and everything that's
and
near it.
It faces dead south. There's nothing between me and the sun. And
Good
so,
job. Poor planning, right?
well, I put out heat-tolerant plants, supposedly. So, heat-tolerant perennials. And
Well, let's hope so.
we're going to find out this week.
Well, and that's a good point because as I was driving throughout the county, I've been noticing that this is one of those, especially with the heat coming, the not ugly periods, But since it's been so beautiful, the flowers have bloomed for the past 2 months, and everything has looked dark green. It's been wonderful. But now, the grass is brown, should be.
Yeah, should be. It's dormant.
Everything else is looking less colorful, and that's just the part of the season where it does change here in the county.
Now, my petunias and my wave petunias that I've planted and backed them away from where the deer can reach, they're doing fine.
Are they?
They're just hanging over the basket, just wonderful, just like they're supposed to do. And the marigolds that I put up towards the front, they're already suffering a little bit from the heat, and so I've taken to watering them very early in the morning, and then filling the drip tray underneath them so that they can wick water up during the daytime, and it creates a kind of a little bit of a humidifier around them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you water at any point, you can actually feel the humidity.
Yeah.
The temperature around everything that you're watering just drops significantly to almost bearable.
I think they're going to make it. There is one pot full of marigolds that I mistakenly watered too high up, so that I actually overhead watered them, and they developed a little bit of black spot. And
a little browning there.
A little frying. They got the little heat spots on them, and it's not a terrible thing, because I can go ahead and trim off those leaves, and they'll be fine underneath. They're sprouting wonderful on the second and third and fourth section of leaves. So there'll be new green leaves. The hostas, they get that. They're normally in the shade up until about 11 o'clock in the morning.
Are they getting a little wilty?
They've got the brown trim around them.
I see.
They are now in their brown trim stage.
Yeah.
So what I do with them is, when the leaves get that paper crispy feeling, I just reach down in at the bottom and cut those off. And the new leaves come out, and so within a few days, the hostas look good again.
All right.
But as long as I keep the death removed, they'll be fine.
It's more psychological for the plant. It's like, oh my gosh, is everything going to be like this?
No, they'll be fine. So, you want to go ahead and take our first break?
Let us go ahead and take our first break, and when we come back, we can get into the July calendar.
Yep.
We can get into some apples falling from the tree, because that's what.
And why?
Yeah, and that's a good point. And why? But right now, you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM, streaming on Facebook, and as always, you can catch the reruns on YouTube.
And we're back. This is Ray and Kyle with To the Root of It. We're broadcasting today from the community garden over off of West Side Road and Burnett Road. It's sponsored by the Co-op Church and the Yamhill County Master Gardeners.
And we're starting to get a breeze kicking in here, Ray.
Wilco's kicking in for us. Bless their heart. They're big sponsors of the community garden. And, of course, all the dirt out there is from our good friends at Northwest Greenland. So that's why those guys are absolutely plumb tickled. I mean, there's onions out there 3 feet tall.
Ray, we need to talk about onions, because you were kind enough to give me some of your
How'd you like those?
Your harvest. And I tell you what, I went ahead and I dehydrated them. First of all, you gave me some beautiful-looking red onions. When I peeled them off and looked underneath, it was like the Hope Diamond. It was glistening.
Shiny.
It was so beautiful. Yeah, they're very shiny. So I'm looking at it, and I don't want to do anything. So I'm just like taking fervent pictures of it everywhere.
Put it
in
a salad.
Eat it? No. This belongs in a
Fish
museum.
Tacos. They're man, are
man,
they
you
good?
have
They got enough perk to where.
Oh, yes.
Oh God, are they good?
So here's what I did: is I cut the stems up and to small little pieces, put them on a pan, put them in the oven, let them dehydrate there.
Yeah.
And I took them out, and I started eating them like they were potato chips.
Uh-oh.
No, they were delicious, Ray.
Yeah, but they disappear. You do that.
They do.
You got to
Because
start over with new onion
they
slices.
they make
I guarantee.
perfect additions to the pasta, to soups, and my
Oh,
daughter
yeah.
loves ramen, so they're perfect just topping that on the ramen.
Oh.
And so yes, you did a very wonderful thing. The Walla Wallas, that's what I got also, right?
Yep,
The
yep.
yellers.
Yeah, the big ones.
And those, I was curious about the whole process, because when you go to the store and you buy these things, they come in that perfect little paper coating. And when you took me to the community garden to harvest these things last week, they were standing above the ground like we've talked about. They're not buried in the ground at all. And when we pulled them out, they didn't necessarily have that perfect yellow coating that these genetically modified onions have from the store.
No.
But nonetheless, they looked perfect. And again, when I got them home and I peeled them away, it was exquisite. It was a work of art. They were very beautiful to look at. And I chopped the greens off of them also and dehydrated them. And those are sticking in a nice big jar, waiting to be used also. Very, very delicate tasting, very good. And it was amazing, though, because it almost reinvigorated my onion zeal, because I think I had lost it for a while there. The same thing with potatoes. These are in-the-ground kind of things that I didn't appreciate until I came to the community garden and saw how beautiful they look.
Yeah. My good buddy Alan let me dig up a couple of hills of his potatoes, which are exquisite.
Are they?
Oh, man.
Don't tempt me, Ray.
I'll
go rate it.
Yeah, they're about 3 inches in diameter. They're smaller ones that make perfect little new potatoes and things like that. And I took them all.
No, don't talk them down. Don't talk them down.
No. I didn't throw anything in the mulch pile but the plant.
There you go. Then you'd have potatoes in your mulch pile.
Well, yeah, that too. And they do kind of keep them off to the separate until the things dry up, so they don't get potatoes in the mulch pile, because the mulch pile would be perfect for potatoes.
Oh, they'd love it. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So what else are you picking out here? The potatoes aren't from here. They were from Al's private reserve, right?
Yep.
All right.
And 2 of the onions I got you were from my good buddy Glenda's private reserve. But I have a couple of hundred Walla Walla sweets left, so we aren't going to run out.
Just a couple.
Just a couple. And I've got, I think, 150 or 200 of the reds left. So we're not going to run.
What do you do? It's just an all of a sudden harvest, right?
No, the beauty of onions is you just let them sit there. They're just going to get bigger.
They can go until August, September.
They can
What
go
are we
until
looking at?
freeze.
Ah.
Yeah, you just let them sit there. They just get bigger.
They're not
and
going
bigger.
to sprout the flower that then takes everything.
Well, they
or-
will after September.
Okay.
Yeah, once they get that snap freeze, then they'll go to seed.
Because my compost onion, and it's an onion that was thrown away, and it has flowered. It has.
Yeah, but how long has it been there?
Oh, you're right. It's
Yeah,
probably been there at
it-
least January.
Yeah, see,
December,
several months.
Right.
Yeah, they don't go to seed right away.
All right.
Some of the things like garlics and you plant them like last October.
Right.
And now you can harvest them.
Right.
And they'll go to seed just before the end of this season, but not right away. And you just leave them in the ground. It's like the onions. I mean, yes, there's roots, but the roots are probably 3-4 inches long.
If
And that's-
that, right?
And that's down in the soil.
Right.
The bulb grows on top of the soil so that it just sits there and gets bigger and bigger.
Like a
and bigger.
pumpkin.
Yeah. And as it gets mature, the outside couple of skins will harden up, and that's what you see in the store. Those onions have been dug mechanically, and they lay in
I see.
the field for several days before they go pick them up. It hardens them off.
I see.
That makes them storable. And if you do that with your onions or even your potatoes, wash them off and then lay them in the sun so that the skins harden up, that makes them storable.
So here's what I did. After I cut the greens off of those onions that you gave me, I cut the stems a little short, but not right down to the bulb itself. And I've put them in a nice little place on the counter.
Yep.
And I'm watching the tops shrink down.
That's
and
fine.
that's what I'm hoping to see. But I don't know if I made the mistake of taking the outer skin off of every single one of them, but I anticipated, getting a little drying on the outer layer. But I probably shouldn't have taken that first layer off, right?
Well, no.
Right.
We'll grab another half dozen or so and send home with you today so that you can experiment with them. This time, leave everything on it.
Okay.
And just set it out someplace where they get a little bit of sunlight, like on the porch. Just lay them on the railing of the porch where the wind blows by.
Like this one.
Like this little breeze. And, oh man, that feels good.
Doesn't it?
And watch what happens to the outer skins. They'll dry and they'll turn brown or yellow, if you will, depending on the palate of your eyeball. And the inside part will still be shiny and moist and absolutely lovely.
For months?
For months.
Okay.
And then if you picked a whole bunch of them,
Like 250.
like 250 at once,
Uh-huh.
and just laid them out in the sun on a tarp or a piece of cardboard or something like that for a couple of days till you actually see the outside layer get crispy.
Mhm.
Then you've already cut off your greenery, because that's what would inspire them to sprout.
All right.
So then you have nice dried onions, and you just throw them in a gunny sack and hang them someplace where it's dark and cool, if you got anything like that. Out in the back porch would be fine, or out in the storage shed. I have the underground storage.
Mhm.
And the fall before last, I had onions and potatoes down there that had been dried for like 48 hours in the sun,
Mhm.
so that the skins were really hard, but it was
Like a football?
yeah, it was really firm.
Good.
And they lasted till the onions lasted till January,
Mhm.
and some of the potatoes were still very tasty the 1st of March.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, and that's where I store my winter squash, because it stays the same. It stays about 50 degrees. And so I just put my winter squash out there, lay them on newspaper so that they aren't touching boards or anything, and aren't touching each other. And but the winter squash, I take and wash them off with a light bleach solution to take care of the bacteria that come out of the soil.
We're gonna go get some patty pans, you said too, right? Not here, but
Not here.
You're getting patty pans, and
We're getting
do you
patty
do
pans.
that? Apply that same solution to the patty pans?
If I want them to last more than a week, patty
see.
pans and the yellow crooknecks and the yellow summer squash and zucchinis are more better.
More resistant to the molds, the
Yes,
things.
but
that
you
you're
have
cleaning
to
it off.
eat them right away.
They don't hold.
They
long.
don't hold.
All right.
You can't store a zucchini.
They're very delicate.
Yeah, they're best put on the spit with a little lamb or chicken right away.
Oh man, you reminded me of the lamb phone call that I didn't make this week. Okay.
Oh, uh-oh.
I know.
Yeah, write that on the back of your wrist.
Right, I gotta-
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
So that's how I get away with storing stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're going to lose a few of them by late February, March. They're going to finally break down, but by that time you should have eaten them anyway. But I had one acorn that I'd forgot about,
Mhm.
and we took it with us.
Draw a little face on it, like
Yeah.
it appears in every
and
picture in the
baked
background.
it on the barbecue down in Palm Springs, and the sucker was great.
That's awesome.
It had lasted that long.
But and we were talking about the dirt, and where we get the dirt from. But it is true, because when you look at these onions that are above the ground, those roots that are going in, it's soft, little,
Right.
draining, loving dirt, and they're just loving everything about it. And I don't taste any chemistry going on. I taste onion. And
Yeah.
at its best. It's
Oh,
strange to me.
Yeah, you put about a half-inch slice on a hamburger, you got some serious good eating.
I know what I'm eating for lunch
And-
now.
Yeah. And I'll send one home with you.
Yeah, that sounds
Uh,
great. Well, let's take another break right now because that's what we're looking at.
And I'm starting to spit.
Let's stop the spitting. We got the nice microphone controller there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when we come back, let's get into some July calendar things that we need to be taking care
this
of.
is what we got to start doing.
Yep. And but for right now, you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM and streaming on Facebook. And for more information, just go to KLYC.us. Can we pause? No. You need a break?
I'm getting close.
Yeah, let's take a break real quick. We're
Yeah.
at the 30-minute mark.